It's nice having you back on the show, by the way.
Well, thanks, Jay. I'm glad to be back.
I was getting a stuffy made of you so I could bring him up on camera in the corner just to replace you when, you don't show up. I think Heather Cox told me that. She's like, hey, you should get a stuffy made of this guy. Anyways, you're not biting. You're too sick today. Anyways, welcome everyone to the Late Night Restaurant Show. Canada's Restaurant Guy and Dominic.
Hey, Jay.
There we go. Got a great show lined up. You know what?
Yeah.
I don't know if you know barbecue. Do you even know barbecue?
I like barbecue. I don't know enough about it. I'm going to go to a barbecue place next week though, in
San Diego,
California. Yeah.
San Diego.
Yeah. I like barbecue.
Well, I like barbecue as well, but we do have a barbecue legend on the show tonight.
It's gonna be cool.
A little creeping. The guy is a legend. And he's a nice guy too.
Nice. He's
a very nice guy. I don't know if they'll sometimes come together as one, but this guy is obviously a nice guy. Legend. Obviously a pitmaster. So what you call it?
Pitmaster, yeah. Well, we'll have to ask him.
I don't know. I don't know anything about it. All I just like in consuming barbecue. I almost had a barbecue fire the other night, by the way.
Oh
yeah.
I've had a barbecue fire.
Did you? Safety guy?
That's like one of the funniest stories ever. It was like a beautiful 7-rib prime rib roast that was on the spit. And my daughter's laughing at me right now. And I put a pan under it. I thought I was so pro, right? I put a pan under it to catch all the drippings. And I put, 1/4 inch of water in it. Rookie mistake. Should have had like 2.5 inches of water to catch it. And the thing caught on fire. And from the side of our house, somebody spotted it, and I ran out and I put it on the ground, and then I saved it. I cut all the stuff off, but it was funny because this whole thing was on fire. This beautiful roast, yeah.
Apparently, one thing you don't do is barbecue hot dogs with bacon around them. I did that once.
Oh, really?
Not
fire?
Yeah, big fire. It was in Lethbridge. It was a big one. So, anyways, we have a great guest on. He's a barbecue legend, and he's also a fellow marbles in my mouth. He's way better than I am, by the way. Podcaster as well. He's got a rockin' podcast. I don't even know if you say that. I don't even know. That's right.
Is that the name of his podcast, the Rockin' Podcast?
No.
Oh.
It's a Single Tree Nation, I think, is his podcast. And I think it is. We'll have to double check with him. I don't know if frick it up for him, but he's a legend in that space too. Yeah. Anyways, let's get to this. Let's cut it. First of all, I don't forget this intentionally. It's all a part of the skit, everyone. Is that May 18th to 21st, the National Restaurant Show in Chicago is May 18th to 21st. I'd go there if you were in Chicago.
Yeah. Well, even if you're not in Chicago, plan to go there because it's a good show to go to. Have a restaurant. You're thinking of a restaurant. You should absolutely go to that show. It's very cool.
Now, you can afford to go to the show if you use our promo code podcast24, all capital letters. When you sign up, you can only do it online. And you get $55 off American, which is $150 Canadian.
Yeah, at least.
Approximately.
Yeah, approximately.
And you can go and get yourself a Starbucks.
Yeah, pay for coffee.
Most of the shows. I've had Starbucks on the show too.
May 18th to 21, right?
Yeah. Remember how much square footage? Almost 700,000 square feet. That's 12 football fields, people, U.S. size.
900 categories.
Does Canadian football field smaller and bigger?
Bigger.
Bigger than NFL?
Yeah, they got 100 yards. We got 110.
Oh, we had to fuck it up, eh? Had another 10. Anyways, let's get to it because we don't want to waste this gentleman's time, and I want everyone to listen to this guy, not us. By the way, this is not a podcast. It is not a podcast. We don't think it's a podcast. It hangs with other podcasts, but they're way better than what we do. There we go. You ready? And Dominic is sick.
No.
Okay, here we go. Be right back.
Got my game. Got my game. Got my game. Got my game.
Welcome, Charlie, to the Late Night Restaurant Show.
Hi,
It's
Charlie.
an honor. It's an
What
honor,
is
Charlie.
up? Oh, the honor's all mine. I appreciate you guys having me on this evening.
No. You're a legend, man. I've creeped you out a little creeping. I always admit my creeping.
That's okay.
Dominic's a closet creep. You know,
Well, you're gonna get me in trouble here, Jay.
sorry. Yeah, he was on your side all night, Charlie.
Charlie, tell what. First off, I think Jay screwed up the name of your podcast. What's the name of your podcast?
Yeah.
Single Tree Nation.
See, I was
Oh,
right.
okay.
I was-
First one you ever got right, Jay. You can't get our show right. That's the truth, man. Charlie, and what's the barbecue place called?
Single Tree Woodfire Barbecue is the name of the restaurant. So we
And in what city?
we're in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, just south of Nashville.
Wow.
Living the dream, man. Smoking every day.
Nice. How far south of Nashville?
With just miles, it's probably, I think it's 27 or 8 miles from Nashville, but it's
Holy, you're
an
close.
hour or so.
I might be in Nashville in July.
When
come
did you
see us.
become an international traveler lately?
I got a reason to travel. Work.
You- Are you safety checking the U.S. state by state?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I am.
He was in Florida last week, Charlie. He's going to San Diego, hanging out with Sean down there.
Oh man, you're gonna love that. Have you ever
Then
been
you-
to Sean's
Well, then
place?
I won't tell you the results of the barbecue like flavor competition, but they'll both be awesome.
Are you
I'm
competing
politically
in a
correct like that.
competition?
Sean's
No, I'm
barbecue.
gonna taste them both.
Yeah, Sean's barbecue and mine are total different. We're on the opposite sides of the country, so his style of barbecue is a total different style of what I do. I wouldn't even. They're both called barbecue, but
Mhm.
if you have his and you have mine, it would be two total different taste profiles. Like his
Well,
is
see, that's-
exceptional, and mine's pretty good too. But I don't think either one of them's any better than the other. It's just different.
They're different.
Yeah. I love it. So,
So there's Tennessee style barbecue. I've heard of that. There's Carolina style, correct?
Yep.
What other? If you can help me because I don't know enough.
Yeah,
we don't know anything.
Like Texas barbecue is really all salt and pepper and post oak.
I don't like that.
Kansas City is real heavy sauce. You get into Memphis and it's more the Tennessee style, which is just dry rubs and
Cool.
and like whole hog barbecue.
Oh, nice.
Carolina has a real heavy vinegar based barbecue.
I don't like that one either.
They do a lot of whole hog there as well. Everybody has their own different takes on it and different styles and all that stuff. But it's barbecue is one of those foods. It's very regional, right? So
Yeah.
The people here in Tennessee, barbecue in Nashville is really just over the last few years started to take off. So
Really?
it's not been it hasn't been a big staple in the area in comparison to you go to Memphis, you go to Kansas City, you go to Austin, Texas. Those areas all have a pretty big condensed, the Carolinas, they all get pretty amped up about their barbecue. Nashville's been more of a growing area than anything else lately. So
I love that. You know what? I love barbecue. Like I'm a huge fan of it, but I don't know anything about it, and I'm always fascinated how much you know sophistication goes into it, Dominic. It's pretty
Yeah,
hardcore.
the
Right?
it's I think up here I had some guests up from the States here, not last year, the year before, and he wanted to go to a barbecue place here in Calgary. And I said to him, let me take you for steak. And he said, no, I'd like to do barbecue. And I knew it wasn't going to be good, but I think he was just a fan of barbecue and he wanted to try the local stuff because that's what he does when he travels around. And yeah, he was very disappointed.
Really?
I'm not going to name the places. I think they've gotten better since, but he just said, barbecue's pretty new to you guys up here, he said to me. He was trying to be really nice. And I said, next time you come, we're going to go for steak. And we went to Chairman's, which he said that was probably one of the best steaks he ever had. Now, he might have also just been being nice to me because he's an international traveler. But yeah, I think a friend of mine, Chad, he works for Centennial Meats now, Jay. He's done barbecue judging. So he's quite the aficionado of barbecue.
Charlie,
And even
you
he
must get
said,
asked a lot of that. Do you get asked a lot for doing competitions and stuff, Charlie?
No, we've done a couple. I did one last year and one I don't know, a month or two ago. The one we did, I guess it's been a month, about 6 weeks. It's the third largest competition in the country.
oh, wow.
So
wow.
they had 150 different barbecue teams from all across the states. It was really cool. But you get into competition style barbecue, and it's not what you think it is.
Yeah, I'd
It's
heard that
it's
before.
so you got to think about from a standpoint of if I'm cooking barbecue for the restaurant, I'm cooking for hundreds of people every day, right? And and you're going to eat a whole slab of ribs, or you're going to eat a whole sandwich, or you're going to eat a whole plate, whatever it may be. Where in competitions, they're getting one bite, right?
Yeah.
So you have to pack in, if you do 8 ounces of brisket, I got to pack in those that 8 ounces
Mhm.
all into one bite. So, all the flavor, everything has to. So it's way heavier in the salt and the peppers and the garlics and the seasonings and the sauce and all that stuff, right? So it's a lot more
Wow.
in that just one little bite than it is. You wouldn't. I compare it to steaks for people that don't know barbecue. You ever had a Japanese Wagyu ribeye or strip or anything along those lines?
Mhm.
A real high end grade of beef. It's super marbled,
Yeah.
and it's amazing. Well, there's a reason why everybody sells it by the ounce, because you take one bite of it and it's so rich. It's amazing. It tastes delicious, right? But it's so rich, you don't really want more than that one bite.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
Mhm.
it's the same thing with restaurant barbecue versus competition barbecue. And the way you cook ribs in competition, if I served them in my restaurant, everybody'd send them back because they're going to have a little bit of bite to them, right? You're not gonna just fall off the bone kind of rib. That wouldn't score well in a competition. So it's two different styles of
Right.
cooking. I mean, I know competition guys that have got into the restaurant business and failed miserably, but
Oh,
were
really?
highly, highly successful on the competition circuit. And then you take guys like me who do a decent job at the restaurant side, and they fail miserably in the competition side because it's just a total different. It's like comparing apples to oranges. It's just they're both
Mhm.
Yeah.
fruits, but that's about as close as it gets.
I got a question on the operation side of your business. How long have you
Yeah.
been doing this, Charlie?
Restaurants my whole life, man.
Yeah.
I,
How
I
long have you
started
done?
Yeah, I started when I was technically, I guess I was 13. During the summers, I would go to a golf course and I'd pick up the golf balls on the range. And one summer I was out there, I got caught up, didn't have anything to do, and the inside the pro shop they had a little restaurant, and the restaurant just got slammed one Saturday. So I'm sitting around not doing anything. I walk in, I asked the restaurant manager, hey man, you need some help? And he was like, yeah man, if you could wash some dishes for me, that'd be great. And
Awesome.
so I just walked back to the back and hopped on dish pit and caught it all up. And 5 minutes later, I'm popping out front again. I'm like, hey man, what's up? What do you need now? You've done all that already? Yeah, man, that was easy. What else you need?
Yeah.
So he was like, I don't know, just do something for me. It'd be great. So I just started walking around the restaurant and in the pro shop there, and refilling drinks and bussing tables and talking to people, and seeing how bad they were sucking it up on the course that day, and who was winning all the money, and it was really
Nice.
cool. I got to meet a lot of pro players, and I got to meet a couple of TV guys. There was a guy in Atlanta by the name of Orlando Wilson. He had a fishing show that came on every Sunday morning, and he played at the course that I was working at, and so I got to meet him and hang out with him and played golf with him a few times, and it was just really cool, and it kind of stuck with me. I was like, man, I look at all these cool people that I got to meet just by coming by and picking up a dirty plate off their table, or refilling their water or whatever it was. And
Cool.
so when it was
The
when it
origin
was time
story.
to yeah, when it was time to get a job, my dad said he was going to take me to the grocery store down the street, and I was like, hell no, man, I'm not bagging groceries. take me to take 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 me to the restaurant. Let me go over there and wash all the dishes. That's what I want to do.
Nice.
So
So from then, let's say a short 10 years ago,
yeah,
to now, you have your own place.
yeah.
When did you get a barbecue place? And then I want to ask you a technical question on the barbecue part. Not a technical question, sort of a tech question around operations. Like, so
Yeah.
when did you own your first restaurant? Or is this
So
it?
this is the first restaurant I've ever owned.
Cool.
In October of 2020, I was a vice president for Bar Louie. They had 125 locations. Pandemic hit. We filed bankruptcy. Dropped down to 50 units. Lost hundreds of people. Really thousands of people. As you all know, the pandemic hit the
Yeah.
world pretty hard, and everything shut down pretty hard. So, and I made it all the way. We made 7 different cuts through the entire company. I made it to the 7th cut, and I got a phone call October 6th of 2020 that said your services are no longer needed. I was devastated at the time. Didn't really think that it was going to be the blessing in disguise that it was. So that whole next week, I'm in my office and I'm, typing on the computer and making phone calls and calling buddies in the industry. Hey, I need a job. And, I obviously wanted to kind of stay in the same level of position that I had achieved. And, it was the same response from everybody I knew, hey, Charlie, we would love to bring you on, but we're in the middle of a pandemic. So, did that for about a week, and my wife walked up into my office one day and said, stop depending on everybody else and start depending on yourself, and do what you love, and open your own company. So
Well, good advice, right? Okay.
look, it's probably the best advice that I've ever gotten in my life.
I love it.
So I was goofing around on Facebook and posted a picture of a trailer and said, would you think about, what's the world think about, Charlie owning a food truck?
Yeah.
Would you like barbecue? And the responses that I got online and privately and phone calls was kind of overwhelming. So we jumped off the cliff. I had a meeting with my now business partner, and we hit the ground running, man.
I
So you have
love
a
it.
truck.
So we started with a food truck. Had the food truck. Actually, still have the food truck. But for the first 18 months, 2 years, we had nothing but the food truck. I had ended up parking the food truck full time at a brewery here in town. It took off even more. I was busier than a one-legged duck swimming in a circle, man. It was it was rampant. It was crazy. So
Love it.
we I hired two people because the first year and a half, 2 years, it was just me and my wife. My business partner would come and help when he could, but he's got a full-time job, so he couldn't do as much as he would like to. But and then that started going well, just from trying to build the community and make partnerships and networking and meeting everybody I possibly could. I ended up meeting some folks that had a restaurant, well, bar more than a restaurant. They didn't really want to mess with the food. Asked if we'd partner with them and take over the restaurant. So last February of 20, what is this? Yeah, February 23. Um, we went in and took over the kitchen and the restaurant side operations. In March, we negotiated a contract to buy them out, and then in
Wow.
April of last year, it was officially 100% ours. So
Nice.
Wow.
now we've had the restaurant for 14 months now. So
Cool. Good for you.
Ah,
How's it
love
going?
it.
It's going well?
absolutely amazing. I think this year, right now, we just have the restaurant operating. That's the only thing that's out full time. Is the restaurant. Last year we had a concession stand at the college. We had the food truck, um, and the restaurant, and I'm still up 78% over last year. So
Awesome.
we're doing pretty
You're
well.
killing it. Yeah.
It's been an absolute blast, but I mean, I couldn't do it without the community support we have. I mean, our whole mission is to become the Nike of barbecue. And if you know anything about Phil Knight, Phil Knight didn't start Nike to be a billion-dollar company. He wanted to help his community grow, and he wanted to be the street lights for the runners at night. So, we're gonna do that exact same thing. We're gonna help build and grow our community through, undeniable hospitality, storytelling, and the perfect plate of barbecue.
Well,
Legend.
it's cool, right? It's
I don't know
cool.
about that.
No,
No,
I'll tell you
dude,
why it is. No, it
seriously.
is. It's very cool.
It's
It
very cool.
First off, because it's genuine, but
We're Canadians. We
secondly,
don't fucking lie, Charlie.
it's cool because it's simple. It really is that simple, right? Like you got to have good food, right? But
Yep.
good, even mediocre food would be okay if you had exceptional service and authenticity, right? Like you don't have to be spectacular. People appreciate that, obviously, but if you're real and you're part of the community, I've been to many places in small towns that everybody there locally says this place is so good. Leah, the Hoyt. Anyway, I won't say nothing. There's a place that we've been to many, many times in a small town that's trash, in my opinion. But
Right.
the locals they're over the moon for this place, and it's like, well, you guys have never really had a good breakfast. But it's more than that. It's because they're connected. They're connected to the community.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the connection gives you grace, right?
Very much so.
Yeah, I think that's why it's cool.
Look, I think, my grandfather spent 28 years in the Army, was an attorney, a federal judge, president of the 4-H, a Mason. If you ask him, he was one of the lawyers in the Army that drafted the peace deal for Vietnam. But
Wow.
there's probably a little bit of embellishment in that story, but the man did anything and everything he could to help his community and help people around him. My grandfather on my mother's side was the same way. He spent 5 years in the Marines in World War II. spent 33 years in the postal service. Was married for 68 years and raised 4 girls. So the guy had a heart of gold and was a saint. And so I come from a line of lineage that wants to serve and wants to help people. I'm blessed and highly favored to be able to cook a little bit and make things that people like. But my food's not really where our passion is. We want to make a meaningful, lasting impact in the community. And when I'm long gone, or when I'm 70 years old and I got grandkids, I want them to look up to me and the same way I looked up to my grandparents and my parents, and
Awesome.
how they did things, and how their work ethic, and just the impacts that they make in people's are made in people's lives is unmatched, right? And if this little dumb redneck from Tennessee can get out there and cook some barbecue and make some people smile, then man, let's make it happen, right? Let's collaborate on some things and get
Yeah.
some people involved, and do things that others aren't doing or aren't willing to do. Opportunities come in the form of hard work, man. And if you're not scared to put in the hard work and get it done, then doors open for you. I'm not a
Yeah.
lucky individual. I just work my ass off. That's all it is. It's just
I
the
love
truth.
it, Charlie.
But the
I
funny
love
part
it.
about it is, man, is the harder I work, the more opportunities come in front of us, right? The more things get better, the more things get easier. I'm not scared to get my hands dirty and make shit happen. And
Good
you
for
know,
you.
it's amazing to see. I was telling somebody the other day, I was really kind of, I've had a pretty tough week, and a couple of things have happened, and been kind of down on myself, and just in general, and I'm sitting out by the fire one morning earlier this week, and a man pulls into the parking lot and sits in his car for a few minutes, and he gets out and he walks over to me and he says, "Hey, you're doing some stuff for veterans in our community, right?" And I said, "Yeah, I try to do as much as I possibly can for vets in our community. I don't think people do enough." And
Mhm.
he said, "Well, when's your next veteran event?" And he said, "You got one coming up like in the next day or so, don't you?" I said, "Well, we actually had one yesterday, but the next one's going to be next month." And he reaches in his pocket and pulls out $100 bill and says, "Hey, man, I just want you to have this. If you can, take that and use it towards your next event, that would be really cool. And I just want you to know that I appreciate you and thank you for all that you're doing." And I mean, it's things like that that make it all worth it, right? When you're dog tired and you don't want to get up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning and go sit by a
Mhm.
fire for a little while and trim 500 pounds of meat to put on your smoker. Things like that make you understand real quick why you get up every day.
Jay,
Well,
we could learn a lot from our American cousins on how to treat their vets. We suck at it
oh,
here.
hundred
We're not
percent.
good at it at
Yeah.
all. When I was
No,
at the
we
Tampa
suck at
Bay
it too.
game,
Well,
well,
we really
but
suck,
now
Charlie. We suck
imagine
more.
imagine how bad we are if you guys are not good at it.
Yeah, like you put us to shame, right? You
Yeah.
really do in that
Well,
space. And here, I want to
that's
say this to Charlie because this is the one thing that when we started our show 4 years ago and doing bazillions of interviews, it feels like yeah, I slept through one. But haha. Anyways, um, the one thing I want to say to you, and I hope your week goes better because I tell you, the more stories that we hear like yours, it inspires other restaurateurs to
yeah.
keep going. And because, especially in Canada right now, we've been beat up for many reasons, and we will not get into that, Dominic, in the politics side. But I do want to say that stories like yourself inspire others. They really do. And that's what gets me doing this Monday to Friday every bloody day is that whole thing is hearing stories like yourself. So you inspire so many people of doing what you do, and it will inspire others listening to your story and hearing the heart that you put into your work. And it hasn't been easy, and I guarantee it hasn't been easy for you. And I think that's what makes me keep going and doing this show as well, is hearing all these stories out there. So thank you for what you do, not only as a rock star, but as a restaurateur that's kicking some ass, and it's huge. It's huge. I get goosebumps hearing stories like that. I love it. We
I
don't get enough
appreciate
of
it, man.
this.
I
Yeah, we
appreciate
No,
really
it.
and
don't.
Thank
that's
you.
that's part of our purpose. I think is to bring out the positive. There's lots of negative, but there's way more positive out there, right? There's
Yeah,
a
they call those
Absolutely.
podcast. We're not a podcast.
yeah, we're not. There's there's lots of positive out there to be told, and yeah, I appreciate what you're doing, Charlie. It's good to
Yeah.
see. I know other people, like Jay said, will get inspired by this, and you know, hats off to you, man, because the restaurant business is, you know yourself,
Tough
right?
as shit.
What was the brand that you were with before? What was it called?
I've been with a couple of different companies, but Bar Louie was the
Oh,
last one that I
Or
worked
Louis.
for. Worked for Logan's Roadhouse, Ruby Tuesdays. There's some of the big names that I've worked for, and a couple small ones too.
what and when you did,
That
why?
was your
I was
training,
gonna,
Charlie.
yeah,
That was your
you're
training.
for sure. But what made you do barbecue over like none of those guys? I don't know what Bar Louie is. I have no idea.
It's a
Is it
bar.
barbecue? Oh, it's a
It's a
bar.
bar.
Okay.
They make
Um.
martinis.
Okay.
So why did you pick barbecue?
Well, yeah. Why did you do barbecue?
Yeah. So I moved to Tennessee when I was 9, 10 years old, and my grandfather Papa George had a farm in Bell Buckle, Tennessee. Um, the when you pulled into the driveway of this farm, up on the hillside, there was one real tall tree that stood up all the rest. So he named the farm Single Tree Farm. So when
Oh,
uh, when I would be out there during the summer times, weekends, nights, whatever it was, we'd go fix fences, tend to the cattle, whatever, pick some squash out of the garden, corn, etc. And then at the end of the night, we would sit on the patio and we'd have an open fire and we'd cook dinner and smoke cigars and drink bourbon and try to solve the world's problems, right? So that's just we thought we had all the answers, and just like everybody else, when you're drinking bourbon and smoking cigars, you're gonna feel like you have all the answers, right? So growing up, I just thought that was what life was. I thought, you sat on the back porch and you had a fire and you cooked and you hung out with the family, and that's just what you did. So in my career from restaurants, I've worked in many different styles of places that have cooked barbecue in different forms, and worked for some barbecue places as well. And just kind of, I always just loved doing the live fire cooking. And learning how to manage a fire came natural to me because I've done it my whole life. So when it was time to start this company, it was simple to me what the name was going to be, simply because that's where my roots came from. I wanted to pay homage to my grandfather who did so much in his life, always wanted to have a restaurant and never opened one. So I thought I'm lucky enough to be able to open a restaurant. Let's at least name it after him, right? But George's barbecue doesn't quite have the story that Single Tree Barbecue does. So, all jokes aside, I wanted the brand to mean something to me, and be able to explain it. And Single Tree means way more to me than just a barbecue sandwich, right?
Cool.
So I don't have that farm. The farm's not in my family anymore. So the only way it's going to live on in my lifetime is if I started something new. So
Nice.
barbecue came from, just years of practice and screwing it up and learning how to do things differently. And, it's just really damn good when it's cooked right.
Cool.
it's that simple, Dominic. Eh?
Well,
It's
Yeah.
that's,
yeah.
but it's beautiful. Here's the thing, though, is that first of all, now Charlie has a podcast. Can you see why, Dominic? I've been telling thousands of people every restaurant needs a podcast. Every restaurateur does, because stories like this need to be told every day.
Yeah.
or they're lost, right? And it's just incredible.
Well, and
Love
then
it.
you connect your I think contrary to what a lot of people believe, a lot of customers want to know.
Very much
Like
so.
many men, they want to know they want to know the origin, why you're there. Like if you're a big corporate company, probably nobody cares, right? Because you're just this big conglomerate. But
Yeah.
when it comes to local or something that's different, or and even if it's not different, but they want to know that history. They want to know about your grandpa. They want to know why you're doing it, why you left the corporate world. Like not every story is like yours where you got cut, so you had to do something. Sometimes it's people are tired of this big corporate machine too, right? And which is
Yeah.
probably also that probably I'm sure your life has changed, but you're probably enjoying it much more than you did before. Is that
This
fair
is
to say?
this is this is hands down the hardest thing that I've ever done in my entire life.
Yeah,
It's the most joyous thing that I've ever done in my entire
cool.
life. It's
Yeah,
the most frustrating. It's the most irritating. It makes me the happiest. It's and I wouldn't change it for the world. It's
yeah, cool.
it's I tell people that it's it's just a feeling that you'll never be able to experience unless you're the one doing it, and unless it's your name on the door. It's your blood, sweat, and tears. It's your livelihood, right?
Yeah,
I don't give a shit if we make it absolutely perfect and the guest doesn't like it. Okay, great. Then we're going to make it how the guest likes it. Let's fix it. Let's move forward.
Mhm.
It's not about you. It's not about me. It's about the community that supports us. It takes
yeah,
a village to raise a child, and it takes a community to build a business. If
yeah.
I'm asking the community to come spend their hard-earned money with me, you better damn well believe I got to take care of them, right? It's just that simple.
Now box that up and turn that into a course, Jane. We'll sell it all day long for $5. It's
Well, I
like
think
it's a
Charlie, do
one
you
it's a
teach this? Do you
it's a
teach
one
this?
liner.
Because
No,
I
but
know
it's like it's
you should
simple, right?
teach this.
I actually have it on my YouTube channel. So
Do you?
if you go to Single Tree Barbecue YouTube, there's a whole series on how to build a catering business.
Serious?
Oh,
See, brilliant,
can
brilliant.
I get the rights to turn that into a course?
You should.
It's free, man. It's free. I'm trying to make an
But
impact, not get rich.
we'll do it for $1 and we'll give it to the veterans.
There you go. There
It,
you go.
it's it, it. I tell people there's people ask. Somebody asked me a couple weeks ago, and excuse my French, but what does fuck you money look like to you? And I said, well, that's like asking me what success looks like to me. Because it's for me, Jay, Dominic, all three of us, the level of dollars is different, right?
Yeah.
Because you give me $500,000 in a yurt and 10 acres, and I can retire, right? I mean,
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's and me and my wife would be happier in a pig and slop. I mean, it would just be wonderful. It's just one of those things where some people want to retire and they want to make sure that they're driving the brand new Mercedes Benz G wagon with a 10,000 square foot house on whatever, and nannies and butlers and this, that, and the other. So success is a total different thing, but in the same fashion, it's also the same metrics. For
Mhm.
me, I feel like I'm one of the most successful restaurateurs in the world, because I know in the last 3 years I've gone from having nothing to building a brand and having a food truck, having a podcast, having a restaurant. And all of that is wonderful, but the amount of people that I impact daily and their lives are better for it is unmatched.
Yeah.
To
amen.
have
Yeah,
somebody walk in your restaurant with a frown and you turn it upside down and make them happy, that's incredible. My
cool.
kids, we partner with a group called the Atlas program that feeds. We have about 900 children in Rutherford County and my little community here that are homeless. And my wife and kids came to me about 2 years ago and said, "Hey, we want to get involved and help." And so I contacted the Atlas program, and they do a can drive every year. And I believe, I'd have to go back and look at the numbers exactly, but I think we got 1,200 cans for that particular drive in about a 6-week time period, and 400 or 500 of those cans came from my kids. My my
Wow.
my my 10-year-old and my 12-year-old took their birthday money without being asked, and said, "Hey, we want to go to the store. Take us to the store so we can buy some cans for these kids." So
Wow.
the when you start talking about success and people making an impact and doing things for their community, man, I'll do anything I can to help this community, man. It it means more to me than just a barbecue sandwich
Mhm.
and making that 37 cents a profit.
I think
Yeah,
that's the
cool.
cool part about our industry, Charlie, is that it's more than just the food that we serve, right? Like
Yeah.
it's so much more. And I think that's why I also love it, right? And many other reasons, but that's why I think you're a legend, buddy. I really do. Those are the
I
things that those,
appreciate it very
but
much.
those are the things I think also, Dominic, that we restaurateurs that have the heart and soul in it, like Charlie does, they become successful. And I love how you put that, because even when I went to university, I remember, like I came from an oil community, and everyone had all these big trucks. Trust me, I'm not driving a, I'm driving an '03 Cooper. So there, it's not like Dominic's G wagon he's got. But
I
I
don't have
do,
a G-Wagon, Jay.
do. So I was going to say is, I remember going to university, and my prof said, I said, all my friends have these big trucks, they get these $100,000 big trucks, and they're everywhere where we live today. But I drive this little thing. He goes, yeah, but you have a $30,000 mind because you went to university. And I always use it that way, right? Like I have, 5 years university, and I don't have the fancy trucks and all the big rich money and all that stuff, but I do have a mind that, and I think it was someone recently that I did a show with, and they said that you can never take that away, right? And I think those values of what you have and how you're wired to do so many great things, no one will ever take that away from you, right? No matter
Mhm.
what it happens or whatever happens and all these great things. But I just find it fascinating. That's the industry that we're in. That's what makes it so cool, is that we don't have it because people are here to become rich. It's here to do what you're doing, is, support the
Yeah.
communities that we're all in, and really become so much of a legend, but also a mentor, someone, a leader. And those things those don't come that easy. Not like this. This is crazy. So it is good
It's tough,
shit.
man.
It's good
It's
stuff,
tough.
man. It really is. And I just want to thank you. And Dominic, I'm batting another one.
Another 100, yeah. You're
Another
hitting it
100.
out of the park
Charlie,
here, Jay.
every day I find another guest for our show. That was, and I saw you on, I think it was on Sean's show. And I'm
Yep.
like, I got to have you on our show. I heard you talk then. It hit me hard. And then tonight, just the stuff that you do and your spirit and your story, it's inspiring. So you're going to inspire a lot of people, man.
I
Yeah.
appreciate that, man. That's the goal, right? We get up
Yeah,
every
good for
day,
you.
do everything we can to make that lasting impact. So
Is there a website, Charlie, that people can check out? Like, not everybody's going to make Tennessee, but you know what?
yeah,
From Calgary here, we have a direct flight to Nashville, Jay. So there a
Dominic,
lot of people come from.
well, if you're going to Nashville, you better go see Charlie.
I'm gonna, but what I was going to say is a lot of people from Calgary and Alberta.
We're going to Nashville a lot.
They consider us Nashville North here in Calgary, but that's the truth, Jay. That's a true thing. It's trademarked.
It is. I was going to say.
it's trademarked. Is it patent pending too?
What's your website? People can check it out. They're going to Nashville. They should go to Charlie's restaurant. What's your website?
It's singletreebbq.com.
Oh my
We're
God.
Perfect.
on all the social media platforms at singletreebbq at singletreebbq. Sorry.
Perfect.
And then you can.
And then Charlie, we're going to see you in a couple of weeks up at the National Restaurant Association show,
Yep.
which is
We'll be up there in
awesome. I get to
Chicago.
see people in person.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. We just had
Cool.
Jason Berkowitz down from Arrow Up Training. Got to hang out with him for a little while at the restaurant. And Troy
Nice.
Hooper came over a couple months ago. So,
Nice.
and
Oh, I
then
love it, dude.
yeah. So it's
I love
pretty
it.
good stuff. Pretty good
See?
stuff.
Who thought, eh? Who thought?
Yeah.
Love it.
Thanks so
I love
much,
it. Well,
Charlie.
Charlie, yes, thank
Nice
you for
meeting
joining
you.
us. And
Of
all the
course.
best. Okay, we'll see you in a few weeks in person.
Looking forward to it, man.
Awesome. Thanks so
Cheers,
much,
man.
Charlie.
Bye-bye.
We go, Dominic
What a
Batten,
good guy.
yet another incredible guy. Incredible.
Cool guy.
We need more people like that. We need more people taking care of
Well, I
events
think
like
there's lots of people out there like that. They just have to have their story told.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. There is. Legend, rock star.
Yeah, very cool.
My heart just, I love that. I hear it and it goes, that's why we do what we do. And we tell everyone to not listen to our podcast because it's not a podcast. So I try to get you to say it's a podcast.
It's not a podcast here.
No freaking way. Anyways, thanks everyone that listened to our show. And if you do want to listen to it, it happens to hang out with all the other podcasts, but ours is not a podcast. And thanks, Charlie, again for joining us tonight. Dominic, you going to go to bed now?
Mhm.
Yeah, you're going to have a nap?
Yeah. I'm going to go to bed for the night.
Almost bedtime normal for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm usually watching Matlock
Girls?
right now. Matlock.
Did you see that Golden Girls schmack that Dave gave you too?
Yeah.
Like that. Anyways, thanks everyone. Have a great evening.
Cheers.
Enjoy. This is not a podcast. There you go.
Yeah.